Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another video of Wildcard MTG. Trying something a little different here. Instead of doing a full-on deck tech for a commander, I figured I would show maybe 5 cards that I think are interesting and are budget that you could add to this deck if you were building it. And for this one, I have chosen Hashaton Scarab's Fist. It's the new zombie commander that everybody's been kind of building around. And I don't feel like I have too much to add as far as like deck techs go. It's pretty straightforward. You're just going to be making a bunch of copies of weird creatures that are going to be zombies eventually, and also have zombie support. It's pretty much how I built mine, but I found like 5 cards that I threw in that weren't in a lot of deck lists that I thought were pretty interesting. And just to read through the commander, he is a white-black and has a blue cost in his text, so therefore he's an Esper commander. He's a legendary zombie wizard, a 1/3 that says, whenever you discard a creature card, you may pay 2 generic and a blue. If you do, create a tapped token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. So really, you're going to be trying to pitch creatures into your graveyard to make copies of them at instant speed, which is pretty cool. On top of that, there are tons of ways to discard cards in black and blue. And so all these cards that I've chosen are black, but let's get into them here. So the first card that I've found is Skirk Ridge Exhumer. It's 1 and a black for a creature zombie spell shaper. So it's a zombie. It already plays into the deck itself. It has pay 1 black, tap, discard a card, put a 1/1 black zombie goblin creature token named Festering Goblin into play with when Festering Goblin is put into a graveyard from play, target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So that effect on its own isn't really that amazing, but it's the fact that you can discard a card and you get technically 2 bodies out of it. Pretty good effect, and it's only 2 mana. Yeah, it's a 1/1, but if you were to also discard this card and then make a 4/4 copy of it, that's way better. So I thought this was a cool card to add. It's really cheap, it's budget, plays into the zombies, and it has a discard effect. So that is the first card you should be playing in this deck. And our next card here is Unbreathing Horde. It's 2 generic and a black for a zombie. And Unbreathing Horde enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each other zombie you control and each zombie card in your graveyard. That could be a lot of counters depending on how many zombies you have on the battlefield or in your graveyard. Because just think, if you've pitched a creature that wasn't a zombie, but you made that token copy of it due to Hashaton, you now can count that as a zombie that is on the battlefield, which will give an extra +1/+1 counter to the Unbreathing Horde. So the other cool thing about this creature is if Unbreathing Horde would be dealt damage, prevent that damage and remove a +1/+1 counter from it. I absolutely love effects like this. I have a bunch of them in my Nethroi deck where you basically can block their biggest thing unless it's got Death Touch. And, well, no, even Death Touch, because it'll prevent the damage. But you're still going to have to remove just 1 +1/+1 counter instead of other effects that are like remove that many +1/+1 counters. So I really love cards like this because it makes them really, really good blockers. And the cool thing is, if you were to make a copy of this card with Hashaton, it's going to come in as a 4/4 and they get all those +1/+1 counters from all the other zombies. So it's going to get bigger if you make the copy of it. And it's only 3 mana, so pretty cost effective. But yeah, definitely look into this card. I think it's pretty fun for this deck. And next up, we have an enchantment, Necromancer's Stockpile. It's 1 and a black, and it has a 1 and a black cost. It says discard a creature card, and then draw a card. If the discarded card was a zombie card, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield tap. You're getting to discard a creature card. Cool, that's what we want. You're drawing a card. Cool, card draw. Definitely love that. And then if the discarded card was a zombie, you're getting an extra body out of it. So you get a 2/2. Yes, it's tapped, but that's fine. You still have a body on the field. And then when you are able to discard that card and then copy it with Hashaton because it's a creature, upside. Of course, it's going to cost 5 mana in total, but honestly, a lot of these other discard outlets, you're going to be playing some, instant or sorcery that's at least 2 or 3 mana to discard a card and then draw some cards as well. So it's still in the realm of what you would pay for that cost. So I think it works well in this deck for that reason. And now this card, I'm using it in comparison. So a card that I see in a lot of lists that people run, myself included, was Undertaker. It's a 1 and a black. This is not the card I'm recommending, by the way. I'm using this as a comparison. So it's 1 and a black, creature, human, spell shaper. Pay a black, tap, discard a card, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So it's a great effect. We love that. And if you could make the 4/4 copy of it, even better. But there's this other card. It's also a spell shaper. It's Bog Witch. It's 2 and a black. Creature spell shaper. It's a 1/1. And it has pay black, tap it, discard a card from your hand, add 3 black mana to your mana pool. Now, I realize the cost of the creature is a little higher, but if you look at the effect of paying a black to discard a card and then getting 3 black mana, that can go into helping pay for Hashaton's abilities. So you can use 2 of that black and then tap a blue, and then you're going to get your copy of whatever you discarded. And since it's just a card, if you need to just pitch cards to, get some mana, that's also really good. And I don't really see a downside with that. Getting 3 black mana, technically 2 because you're going to have to pay a black, but still, it's kind of like a moot cost at that point. But I think just being able to use that black mana to pay for part of Hashaton's ability and making it cost less is a big help. And just having another discard outlet. And again, if you were able to discard this and then make a 4/4 copy, it's now a zombie, and it plays into everything else with the deck. So I'm really surprised that I haven't seen this in a lot of lists over Undertaker. I realize Undertaker lets you get the copy of the creature card back, which is also really good. I think both these cards are really good. But Bog Witch, man, I think it's a great addition to this deck as well. So I would say add that to your list and try it out. And this last one here, it's a little bit of a weird one, but we'll get into it. It's Cabal Interrogator. It's 1 in a black for a creature, zombie, wizard. So again, playing into zombies. And it has X and a black cost, and then tap. Target player reveals X cards from his or her hand, and you choose one of them. That player discards that card. Plays ability only anytime you can play a sorcery. So you can target yourself with this. Now, I realize the downside of that, and the thing is, you only have to reveal the cards you're going to discard anyways. So if you want to discard 2 creature cards, people are gonna know what they are anyways because you're gonna be discarding it. So it's really not that much of a downside. It's not like you're showing your whole hand to them. I think being able to choose the exact cards you want to discard is a good ability as well, because you can pay multiples. If you for some reason have the mana cost to pitch 3 creatures from your hand or something crazy like that, I know it's a big cost with all that, but Magical Christmas Land, sometimes it might happen. And again, it plays into being a zombie. So it's automatically like, in Hashaton's realm, you want to be playing zombies in this deck, but you also want to have creatures that are going to have some kind of value when you discard them. And the fact that you're able to like kind of discard cards like this and make copies of them or get them back, with Undertaker, there's a lot of really cool synergies in this deck. And that's, I think, why people are kind of gravitating towards this commander specifically. So, yeah, a lot of cool cards you can add to this deck. And, these are just 5 that I feel like people kind of overlook to put more stronger, meaner cards. I see Elish Norn in a lot of lists, and, like, I get it, pitching a 8 mana card to board wipe and buff your board, it's great. But, man, for budget-minded players or people that want to build something a little bit different, I felt that these 5 cards were interesting to add to your deck, and they are in my deck. So if you all care about that kind of stuff. Anyways, I've been Wildcard MTG. Thank you for checking out this video. If you want to see me do more stuff like this, please let me know in the comments. I try to do this when I'm not able to do a full deck tech, and I feel like, so many other content creators have done full deck techs on this, so I didn't really feel the need to on this one. Plus, my deck list is a little weird compared to everybody else's, but That's because I'm running some combo stuff in there that I know people hate, and this is only for me. Anyways, we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much. Please click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content.